person or an institution is identified by many things. An address forms part of that identity. On this week's edition of News in Depth, Macpherson Mkuka looks at the importance of the National Addressing and Postcode system in service delivery. I'm your host, Masauso Mukwayaya. Stay tuned.
The 21st century is witnessing a fundamental change in the way of life. This is because half of the world's population is living in towns and cities. Urban areas are growing faster in developing countries, mostly through informal settlements. In Zambia, the sprouting of commercial and residential areas has given birth to one common concern: national addressing. A national address system provides for, among others, the naming or numbering of streets or buildings to facilitate the identification and location of postal delivery and emergency response, among others. It is key to modern postal services. According to the United Nations Development Programme's Commission on the Legal Empowerment of the Poor, about 4 billion people globally are excluded from the rule of law because they do not have legal identity. Other than hindering people from having access to the rule of law, the lack of identity is often a barrier to the enjoyment of access to social services such as health.
It is a disservice, and it makes community health service provision almost impossible, especially in the urban and peri-urban areas where you don't have named streets or indeed the house numbers which you can track. For us in the health sector, there are so many interventions we provide when it comes to promoting health, preventing disease, treating, rehabilitation and palliative healthcare services. So when you don't have that specific identity, it becomes very difficult for you to locate a client.
For the Zambia Police Service and the Fire Brigade, accurately identifying emergency response points is a priority. But this is a challenge in their quest to respond to emergencies, especially in areas where infrastructure is not named and numbered.
You'd find that officers would be stuck to locate the place where someone is calling for help. And you'd find that it takes time for them to find that particular place. Sometimes they'll just say, come to the yellow shop. Maybe that yellow shop, you don't even know on which road it is. And other people are not even good at giving directions. So we really find it difficult.
The problem of locating the place, there are no naming of the streets, there are no house numbers. So for you to locate the place, first of all, you have to fight. You have to take time. And that is time wasting. And people at the end are going to say, no, Fire Brigade came late, not taking into consideration all those issues of localities.
The business community too has not been spared.
The challenge which then comes in is if the addressing system is inaccurate or non-existent, the first thing that happens is we are unable to deliver the shipment to the consignee.
Our couriers actually take out a parcel in the morning based on a routing where we think the house might be. We then try and find the house in the day, and a courier can take up to an hour trying to find a house when he's actually trying to deliver other parcels, which is then also very frustrating for the customer because they've been waiting for that parcel which hasn't been delivered.
Addresses are a key element in aiding the delivery of policies at national and international levels in support of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. This is particularly with regards to governance, rule of law, poverty reduction, disease prevention, and the provision of basic services such as electricity, sanitation, and water. In view of the many challenges that have come with lack of street naming and house numbering, the National Postal Code and Addressing System policy was developed to guide in the development of a robust postal code and addressing system. The Zambia Information and Communications Technology Authority, ZICTA, is spearheading the implementation of the project.
We launched the National Addressing and Postcode project in the year 2014 on 3rd June. And of course, we started with the pilot project in the Kalingalinga area, North Mid, and then in Livingston, we did the town as well as Chief Mukony's area. We wanted to see how, first of all, the communities would respond to this very new development. The National Addressing and Postcode project involves the numbering of houses and naming of roads.
It should be noted that the different components of the system fall under several sectors and different mandates in government. The policy also aims at creating working synergies and harmonizing human and material resources from the different sectors.
And this is a project that is multi-stakeholder managed, because we work in collaboration with the local authorities, of course falling under Ministry of Local Government. And we also have Ministry of Land representatives. We have the Bureau of Standards as well, amongst others. The Bureau of Standards' role is to ensure that the quality and the standards of the signposts of agreed standard. And of course, the key stakeholder is the community.
Since the launch of the Addressing the World, an Address for Everyone initiative in 2009 by the Universal Postal Union, there has been a series of national activities to raise awareness on the value of addresses. These activities, which include among them street naming and house numbering, have clearly demonstrated that it is almost impossible for individuals to be part of society without a legal identity.
The basic concept here is the physical address. Okay? So what we are trying to say is each household is supposed to have an address. I'm sure we can all agree that, just like we need, me as a person, I'm identified, using a name. Okay? Even the infrastructure or, the households that you find in our city, they're supposed to have, a certain unique identifier by which we can identify, that property with.
To implement a postal code system in Zambia, it was agreed that the project approach be used starting with a pilot project that would be used as a learning phase before rolling out to the rest of the country. Lusaka is among the areas chosen as the pilot area, and as such, the project was initiated in Kalingalinga, North Mid, and Kamala South.
We want the people themselves to decide those street names. So what we do is we call for community meetings, okay, with the community. They choose the theme. What the theme you've mentioned of Kalingalinga, there are birds there. So people chose that no, in this area we want to name our streets with using names, birds. So that was the theme. So that's the whole idea. We don't want to make decisions just in the office, but want people themselves. Because issues of projects, we need to be careful. Because sometimes when you make certain decisions in the office, people may not accept, or people may not welcome whatever that you've done.
However, some residents in some areas where the project was piloted have mixed feelings over the development.
Awe kwata ama numbers yadi muri green tavomba nokuvomba mwe kano aria ina akali bantu nangu bayisa ba council bepusha house number ya akali.
I think it is most welcome. It's most welcome, since anyone should know where somebody lives, and if there is a visitor, you can always go straight to the numbered house. So it's welcome to me.
Mazina yali bino manja pa mazina yakaina sia sevenza sia sevenza sipo chakuti mumene wanaikira malodi mazina so wanabwere mu community kunta introduce kuti road yaso ipezeka mwakuti kulibe.
The establishment of a quality national postal code and addressing system is an essential part of the socio-economic infrastructure of Zambia, more so to the health sector.
As you are aware now, in our dispensation, we're also talking of enhancing community health. There is no way you are going to carry out effective community health to the household if you are not able to locate the specific households. Because what we want to do now as a health sector moving forward is to ensure that we're able to identify our people by households who stays where, how many people are in that household, how many pregnant women are in this catchment area, how many people are living with HIV. The good issue with that is that then you are able to provide tailor-made and targeted interventions to our people.
The project will contribute not only to improving the efficiency and quality of public services, but also to facilitate business and trade activities, and consequently, national development.
As a result of this project, it has made a massive difference to us as a courier company, not only for our clients, but in order to us to maximize the routings where we're delivering, that we can plan the routings based on the houses, etc. It actually works, it helps us with our costings, which actually then able to pass on those savings to our customers. So all around there's been a great saving as a result of, to the customer and to ourselves as a result of this project.
For the Zambia Police and the Fire Brigade, response to emergency services will be enhanced once streets are named and houses numbered.
So once these places are numbered, the streets are named, it will be very easy for us to turn out to such instances without difficulties. And as a result, the time wasted on the issue of locating the place will be minimized.
When you look at most of these compounds, you would find that these are the places which are not even marked. And these are the areas where we have high levels of crime. But with the coming of the marking of the roads and the house numbers and the like, it would be easy for us to do our work.
For the Lusaka City Council, the project will help in proper planning and development of new infrastructure.
Without that particular address, we basically have a problem. Because where do we start from in terms of planning? We need to know where people are. Because planning is about meeting certain needs, okay? Whether it's a hospital that we're trying to establish in a certain location, whether it's a bank, whether it's a post office, or whether it's maybe a fire station or in those lines, we need to know where people are.
For some residents in the pilot areas, the project has come with benefits.
Someone was looking for a place, actually, with that school there. So I just directed that person. If you find a Kingfisher Road, you find a small road, just go through there. You find the school you're looking for.
We had the fire it's about a month ago, so at least it helps. The fire brigades have a way to come here very fast, quick. So this is a good project to me.
To deliver a project that will stand the test of time, there is need to monitor the quality of materials used.
Work with them, with develop standards for them. The responsibility of implementation or enforcing those standards remains with ZICTA. However, Zambia Bureau of Standards can come in to provide the support towards testing of whatever materials it is they're enforcing, or we could also provide certification.
The Zambia Bureau of Standards is, however, not limiting innovation in the production of signage, provided it is in conformity with the standards set.
If the standard is too limiting, there's always room for revision. There's always room for revision. But otherwise, the important thing is that in this case, we are looking for specific information. And if that specific information is easily identifiable, I don't think that should be a problem. But however, it is important to look at the requirement of the standard, but also to look at the requirements of the regulation that require that these things are done, which of course is being spearheaded by ZICTA. But otherwise, from the standards point of view, we always insist that the standard must not limit innovation.
Urban development, economic growth, and the provision of basic services are intimately linked to the existence of a sound ICT-driven postcode and addressing infrastructure in urban and rural areas alike. Tapping into this technology, the project will incorporate the use of global positioning system, commonly known as GPS, for easy location and identification.
I'm sure you are aware that now people are already using GPS. They're already using GPS. But can you imagine how more useful it would be if every house is numbered and every road is named? It would be so much easier, but I know people are still using it even as it stands. But this is something that has to be discussed and agreed upon. But it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work and a lot of money involved. But of course, we're moving with the times, and we'll do as the other countries have done, because we are actually emulating other countries. Tanzania has done very well. And those, Tanzania and South Africa, the two countries, those are the places where our teams actually went to see how best we can implement the Zambian project.
Zicta believes this will also promote e-commerce, an online business platform.
Not everybody has a box number, and therefore their home or where they are found can actually be a place where the parcel can be delivered. And this is what has been happening, that the courier companies have been more and more active in the last 3 years, because there's a lot of online purchasing going on.
The migration to physical location will enhance the ability of governments, commercial entities, utility and emergency service providers to identify and tailor messages in the most suitable form to reach the intended persons.
In areas where it is possible to use GPS, officers are using that. And GPS now, it can be on the phone, and most of these people you see, including officers themselves, they have smartphones, and they are able to, in areas where it is possible, they are able to use GPS and locate the place where they want to go. So in an instance where the marking is done in most of these areas, we will use more of the GPS than going to ask the manual way of policing, where you go and start asking people in compounds where to find a certain location. We depend on people, informing the fire brigade to say there is a house on fire, there is a road traffic accident at that kind of a place. But from our side, we can't tell if we haven't been informed. We can't locate the place if we haven't been told, say it is this area where the fire is, or where the accident is, or whatever emergency is.
The Ministry of Health is already making use of the GPS technology.
Using the GPS systems or the Google Map system is the way to go, because you can actually pinpoint where a particular household is, where a particular institution is, where a particular physical feature is in the catchment area. And for us as a health sector, we already use the GPS system. Classical example is like when we had the cholera outbreak, we were able to pinpoint which household actually had recorded a cholera case, which catchment area, and we are using the GPS system. So the Google Map, again, we are working with Zicta and ensuring that this system is also very responsive, and we can use it as the health sector to improve the health of our people.
Identifying and addressing individuals the world over has moved from the post office to a physical location of the addressee. This applies to mail, parcels, or any other deliverable.
With your home now being mapped on GPS to that point, it makes it a whole lot easier, because then our systems can actually guide us to exactly where you are without even having to interact with you when we do get to that point.
What it does do is that we are then able to plot all of the houses and routings before the courier goes out. So there we can maximize our route when our courier goes. He can deliver more efficiently. He gets to the house a lot earlier. We can actually tell the client what time we're actually coming to deliver the parcel. So in case it's somebody's house, we then know that there's somebody who's going to be there to receive the parcel. So all around, it's of massive benefit to everybody.
One of the lessons learned in the pilot project was lack of appreciation of the infrastructure, which resulted into vandalism of signage in some areas.
In some areas, we find that people just pluck them out. They use them for other issues. And on the other side, vandalism also comes in. In some cases, we find that the road sign or the street name is just bashed through maybe a traffic accident and all. Initially,
what happened was that, especially in Kalingalinga, we had a lot of vandalism when we put up the first signs. So following that experience we had in Kalingalinga, we had to invest in more community awareness. And this is what has been going on as we've rolled out on the Copper Belt, in Kabwe, in the recent past.
The concern by the project implementing agencies is validated by the end users.
Vachitire bwino balibikire amashina pamusebo nomba abananikani abalumendo ababaina bachita welding aba balafumye finshimbi filia mwamona balibikire hapo bantu musebo wesuyu ifwe ni Njiva Road mwamona so ngato ya palasi pali okutira mumone okutira Njiva Road eko ili balifumya kale a problem.
A suggestion has been floated to the implementing agencies on how they can protect the infrastructure.
Vija vena na bola baumba vija vapansi vanachita vandalize sivili mushe. I think che bakaika mapost yooneka buno mutuma street yo imili na tunsimbi buno nda bana bola baumba che voumba vija bana vipanya bantu so good days bakeke vinsimbi voonekera buno bakoti bantu akafika berenga
balingiro kula apitana bamona abafumye nanikani finshimbi fye ifya mashina mu road mwamona bantu buli abuka bolala balebwesha nanikani government panshi.
And the stakeholders share a thought on how the rolling out of the national project should be done.
Government should really stand behind ZICTA in funding them or giving them whatever support is required to ensure that the project is implemented and concluded as soon as possible. As you mentioned in your earlier remarks, that the project has been running since around 2014, which makes this the 4th year. Suffice to say that it's absolutely critical that it happens and is concluded in the shortest possible time, because when all is said and done, we benefit as a nation.
The Zambia police have urged the respective communities to support the implementing agencies during the installation of signage and house numbers.
I would like to call upon members of the public in areas where this project is being implemented, that they should allow the people who are doing this project to implement it without difficulty, because it is to their benefit.
And the Zambia Bureau of Standards has pledged its support to firms contracted to install signage.
Maybe it's compliance to the standard. Yeah, that would be the challenge. But otherwise, we are there to actually assist. If there's any supplier of these materials who may find challenges with interpreting the requirements of the standard, we are there to assist them, to help them actually interpret accurately and implement the requirements of the standard without any problem.
The Zambia Information and Communications Technology Authority, ZICTA, has advised the residents to embrace the initiative.
I wish to encourage members of the public to support this project and to protect the infrastructure. And if we have a generation of young people growing up with this development, they will know that this is the way it should be, and they will protect it. So it's not just about the adults being aware, but even the young people.
With the world changing priorities, there is now need for Zambia to respond to the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, whose main aim is to address the root causes of poverty and the universal need for development that works for all people. The National Postcode and Addressing Policy 2014 enlists several interventions which, if implemented, will improve people's lives in Zambia and bring about drastic and rapid change in the economy. Throughout the world, it has been accepted that a national postal code and addressing system is an essential tool for facilitating socio-economic development. About 500,000 kwacha has been set aside for the additional installation of 20,000 signposts and house numbers in Charleston, PHI, among other areas.
This is where we come to the end of this week's edition of News in Depth, where Macpherson Mukuka has been looking at the importance of the National Addressing and Postcode system in service delivery. I have been your host, Masauso Mukwayaya. Thank you so much for watching. Please and viewing.